Hello there, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Advent Chemistry. Today we want to look at the chemistry of Christmas, but first things first. Let's get some Christmas spirit going, shall we? Much better. Well, kinda. Now let's grab a cup of mulled wine or punch if it's a hot day and start with the most important and the most Christmassy part. The Christmas tree. Christmas tree chemistry. By far the most memory triggering scent of Christmas for me is the smell of a real Christmas tree. Several molecules actually contribute to the aroma of a Christmas tree. They are all pine trees, so the key compound is pinene. Pinene exists as two so-called isomers, alpha and beta pinene, depending where the double bond sits. Another molecule contributing to the fresh pine aroma is bornyl acetate, which is commonly used in pine fragrances, like on some fake plastic Christmas trees and air fresheners. Now, the first rule of decorating a Christmas tree is you always start with the lights. While back in Germany, we traditionally only have white lights, everywhere else in the world you can go nuts and go as colorful as humanly possible. The string of lights contain tiny LEDs, light-emitting diodes, that give off light when current passes through them. The different colors come from the materials they're made of. The color of each light comes from the semiconducting material it is made from, and they all sound super fancy. Red and yellow lights usually contain gallium arsenide phosphide or aluminium gallium indium phosphide, where slight changes in the composition of these alloys define the color of the light. Green light is made of gallium phosphide or gallium nitride, whereas blue lights have indium gallium nitride or aluminium gallium nitride in them. The next thing that go on a tree are obviously baubles. The silver baubles, like those we're having on our Christmas tree, are traditionally silvered using silver nitride solution. This is poured into the inside of the bauble, followed by concentrated ammonia solution. To start the reaction, they add a glucose solution, which causes the reduction of the silver ions to silver metal. This produces the shiny silver coating at the inside of our ornaments. In chemistry, we call this the silver mirror reaction, and the mixture of silver nitride and ammonia, usually with some added sodium hydroxide to increase the pH, is called Tollens reagent. And now you can show off with some expert chemistry knowledge at your next Christmas party. To finish things off with our tree, you definitely need some tinsel. Tinsel was actually invented in Germany around 1610 and was originally made from some strands of shredded silver. Those Germans definitely had too much money back then. To make things a bit cheaper, flammable aluminium and poisonous lead strands were used from the 1900s. Yeah, you can kinda already see the issues with that on a Christmas tree. Tinsel nowadays is made from polyvinyl chloride, commonly known as PVC. Thin strips of PVC are cut and coated with a metallic finish. Put all together, that's already giving you a lovely looking Christmas tree. And what do we usually find under Christmas trees? Except drunk relatives. Right, presents. Christmas presents require both wrapping paper and tape. Both of those are made of chemicals that are more common than you would think. Wrapping paper and tape are both based on cellulose, which is the main structural component in the cell walls of plants, like trees. Sticky tape additionally contains a pressure-sensitive acrylic or rubber-based adhesive to make it, well, sticky. Anyway, moving on. The Christmas tree is not the only piece of decoration we commonly see. Christmas decorations chemistry. What gets us more into the Christmas spirit than hearing Christmas bells? Bells are commonly made of tin bronze, essentially alloys of copper, which makes up around 75%, and tin, about 20%, with other trace elements like nickel, lead, iron, antimony, zinc, or bismuth that make up the balance of the percentages. Some of these trace elements are not at all impurities as it might seem at first, but are actually intentionally added to improve both the material properties and the sound of the bells. Trace elements like phosphorus or sulfur, however, make the bells more susceptible to cracking and should therefore be avoided. A quite tacky form of Christmas decorations are snow globes. The snow in those snow globes is made from benzoic acid. Now, how is this done? Benzoic acid is quite well soluble in hot water, but not at all soluble in water at room temperature. All you need to do is dissolve it in hot water And then, as the water cools down, it precipitates out of the solution and forms snow-like flakes. You've also heard of benzoic acid already if you've watched my cosmetics video and learned about parabens. And a bit more traditional form of decorating the house around Christmas are plants. Often sold in the run-up to Christmas are poinsettia plants. Despite a lot of rumors going around about them, they are in fact not deadly to humans or pets. And they don't just look beautiful, they can also be really useful. As pH indicator, the anthocyanin compounds which give the leaves their red color can be extracted by boiling the leaves in hot water. This extract will change in color if you add it to different acidities or alkalinities from red at low pH under 3 over colorless at a pH between 3 and 4, violet between pH 4 and 7, blue between 7 and 8 to yellowish green at a pH over 8. There's a bit of Christmas magic to do with bored kids at home over the Christmas holidays for you. And let's not forget the Christmas classics, mistletoes, holly and ivy. All of them looking pretty, but actually being quite dangerous. Holly berries contain bitter compounds called alkaloids, which make the berries mildly toxic if you would eat them. One of those alkaloids is theobromine, which is also found in very small amounts in chocolate. This is completely fine for humans, but the reason why chocolate is poisonous for dogs is they are unable to metabolize theobromine. The ivy, on the other hand, contains a compound called falcarinol, which can cause moderate allergic reactions in some people if it touches their skin. This is a different chemical than the one found in poison ivy though. Poison ivy contains urushiol, which can also irritate the skin. Mistletoes contain the toxic peptides phototoxin and viscotoxin, as well as the alkaloid tyramine. If you would for some reason end up ingesting some of the berries, it wouldn't directly kill you, but it would definitely lead to a lot of nausea and vomiting, so better stay away from that. At the table for Christmas dinner, at least in the English-speaking countries, you often get a Christmas cracker. But what is it that makes that little explosion when pulling on the ends? When produced, small amounts of silver fulminate, a highly unstable compound, are placed on one of the two cardboard strips in the cracker, while the other one gets an abrasive agent placed on it. When the cracker is pulled, the generated friction is enough to detonate the silver fulminate. Like a real explosion, just in tiny. To get the mood in your home really Christmassy, nothing works better than switching off the electric light and using candles. Now, here's a fun trick for your Christmas dinner table. If you blow out a candle and then hold a lit match or lighter to the smoke trail coming off the extinguished flame, the candle will relight. Why is that? This smoke trail is actually wax vapor, so vaporized fuel of the candle. If you now hold some sort of fire to it, it simply relights the fuel and gives off the illusion of the flame jumping down to the candle wick. In case you need to nerd out even more, I'll put the general equation for candle wax combustion right here. Speaking of Christmas dinner table, let's move on to my personal favorite part of Christmas, the food. Christmas food and drinks chemistry. Christmas is definitely the time for candy. The most iconic of them all being the candy cane. Candy canes are created by boiling a mixture of water and sugar, so sucrose and cornstarch, to create a sort of syrup. To this syrup, peppermint flavor is added. The chemical in peppermint that makes your mouth feel cold is menthol. Menthol tricks your brain by triggering cold-sensitive receptors on your tongue, even though nothing actually cold is present. By the way, this also works when applied to your skin or when menthol vapor is inhaled, which is why it is often used in cold and flu remedies. Closely following in iconicness is the gingerbread man, woman, person. The compound that gives fresh ginger its pungency is called gingerol. The sweetness and spicy flavor in gingerbread comes from zingerone, a molecule that's not actually present in uncooked ginger. It is created by the reaction of gingerol when it gets heated, for example in a hot oven. Speaking of flavor, I will forever cherish German Christmas markets where you can smell roasted chestnuts on every corner. Cooking chestnuts actually creates a number of volatile flavor compounds as a result of reactions at really high temperatures. The two main ones which give roasted chestnuts their distinguishable flavor are Y-butyrol acetone, which contributes a faint sweet caramelly flavor, and furfural, which adds sweets, woody and almond notes. And what goes best with those? Exactly, mulled wine. In Germany we say Glühwein, literally translated glow wine. because it makes your cheeks glow. And it's traditionally made with red wine, lemons, oranges, and a range of spices. Now, every German family has their own recipe, but the two main spices that are always used to get the real deal are cinnamon, which has a chemical called cinnamaldehyde as major flavor component, and cloves, where you will find eugenol as the aroma molecule. The rest are family secrets, and you have to ask your German of trust to get a good and authentic recipe. Now, if a hot mulled wine is too much for your sunny Aussie Christmas celebration, try it as a punch. Just let the prepared mulled wine cool down, or you can even make it with a sweet white wine instead of red wine, and once cooled down, add a bottle of fizzy and some ice cubes, and voila! You get an Aussie version ready to jump into the pool with. By the way, while you're cutting up oranges for your mulled wine drink, oranges were traditionally given as Christmas gifts, and they still have a strong association with the Advent time. The major chemical in the rinse of citrus fruits, such as oranges, that gives them their aroma is D-limonene. If you want to do a real party trick, get those candles back we were talking earlier about and squeeze the oils from the orange peel into the candle flame. If your orange peel is quite dry, it gives you an amazing smelling little sparkle. If it's very juicy, the limonene in the oil will produce a small jet of flame. Take care to do that safely though, and maybe not over a flammable surface. And make sure to hold the peel next to the flame and not over the top of it to not burn it. Or your fingers for that matter. On a whole nother level in terms of Christmas food is the dinner on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, depending on where in the world you're celebrating. Let's have a look at the separate parts. The Christmas roast. No matter what kind of roast you're actually preparing, the basic chemistry is pretty similar. The main reaction occurring when you stick your roast into the oven is the so-called Maillard reaction. You may have heard about my favorite reaction when it comes to kitchen chemistry in my video about barbecuing. Apart from melanoidins, which contribute to the lovely brown coloring during cooking, there are also furans, bringing meaty and burnt flavors. Furanones for sweet caramel-like flavors, pyrazines, the delicious cooked roasted flavors, and thiophene for meaty roasted flavors. Yum, 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 yum. Roasts are commonly served with cranberries, and for good reason. Cranberries are high in polyphenol antioxidants, such as quercetin, and because of that, got themselves a reputation as health superfoods. There were some lab tests that have shown how quercetins and other related molecules in cranberries have anti-cancer effects. However, there's only very limited evidence for these effects in humans, and a lot more research is needed to really support these claims. Cranberry juice is also often suggested as a treatment for UTIs, but reviews of several studies have shown that there are in fact no benefits compared to a placebo. Let's move on to some greens, shall we? My favorite greens for Christmas dinners are Brussels sprouts. They contain high levels of glucosinolate compounds such as sinigrin and progoitrine. When the tissue of the sprout gets damaged, for example when being cut or during the cooking process, those molecules are broken down into several other compounds, including isothiocyanates, which are contributing to the bitterness. There are studies that suggest the sensitivity to bitterness has a genetic component. So if you don't like Brussels sprouts, you can in fact blame your parents for that. Alright, my friends. It is time for my absolute favorite part, the dessert. Let's start with a British classic, the Christmas pudding. It is a traditional part of Christmas dinner, and it is made from a multitude of dried fruits, which are flavored with various spices. Now the best part of it is that it's traditional poured over with warm brandy and set alight before serving. What is happening here? The flame comes from the alcohol, in this case ethanol, vapor from the warmed brandy. It creates a blue flame, which is due to the complete reaction of ethanol with the oxygen in the air. Tasty and spectacular, just like Feuerzangenbowle in Germany, which elevates your classic Glühwein. For the kids present, maybe a classic mince pie is more appropriate. Although the name suggests they once contained meat, nowadays mince pies are made from dried fruit, suets and spices. Dried fruits contain a number of fruit acids, such as malic acid from apples and tartaric acid from raisins. And to finish it all off, it should get served with a glass of eggnog. Eggnog is a Christmas drink that is made from milk, sugar, eggs and spirits. Several spices are added to that mixture to enhance the flavors, because it's Christmas. Two main components of the spice mix are nutmeg, containing the molecule saponine, and vanilla, which contains vanillin. I hope you enjoyed my little nerdy Christmas video. I will take a well-deserved break over the holidays, and I will see you again in the new year. Stay sciencey, and Merry Christmas! This is, by the way, the amino acid spelling of the word Merry Christmas. The amino acids making up these two molecules are from left to right methionine, glutamic acid, arginine times 2, tyrosine, cysteine, histidine, arginine, isoleucine, serine, threonine, methionine, alanine, and serine.